All right. But now that we talked about your movie review, we have to get into that serious stuff that we were mentioning off the top, right?
Yeah, loyalty programs.
All right.
So I'm sure a lot of our listeners are probably already familiar with loyalty programs, but we do get a lot of smaller theaters that haven't implemented one yet. You know, you might be the only place in town and you just hasn't come up for you yet. But we wanted to talk about loyalty programs today because I think no matter the size of the theater you own or operate, that they are really good marketing tools. And in this day and age, when you don't have newspapers and circulation in your community that everybody sees, and you don't do radio spots, and how do you get to your customers and to your audience? I mean, these are always the age-old question for any business, not just theaters. But I think for the first time in over the 100-year history of cinema, it is becoming apparent that theaters need to market themselves, that they need to market their venues, that they cannot rely anymore on the marketing of the movies from the studios. So
but we're beating a dead horse saying
yes,
this
we are.
over and over again.
We are. So
Shocking. Water is wet. Sky is blue.
You have to market your venue. So where we got started on this topic this week was like I said, Sony Picture Classics presidents Michael Barker and Tom Bernard.
Pause. What company has presidents? All right.
A lot of them?
Well, they
Multiples.
do. There's like marketing president and distribution president.
Yes,
and
like
CEO
every
president.
like
and
every country
exhibitor
has
relations
two
president.
presidents, and every captain has, or every ship has two captains.
This is corporate.
Presidents.
This is corporate America. Everybody's either president or VP. Titles don't matter.
Should they be titled as captains then by this ship logic that you speak of? Sony Picture Classics captains, co-captains, Michael Barker and Tom Bernard
Co-presidents.
have sailed the seven seas.
There was a tied election, so they're both president. What is this?
Well, they both have the same advice, so clearly there's a reason why there was a tie.
Are they mirror images of each other? They have different names, but they're the same person.
I mean, corporate America, you never know, right?
You never know. So in this interview that they gave, they talked about that they do think that they're very optimistic and positive about the future of theatrical. That theatrical has a place still in this industry, and that it has a lot of use and utilization. However, they were saying that theaters need to step up into more modern practices of using data that they collect on their customers to then turn back and target market to them. And that's kind of like all that they were saying. They're like, the studios just aren't going to do this anymore for you. They're not going to spend millions of dollars on one big national campaign like they used to. Their budgets are being slashed because they also have streaming components that they have to now market. And so
they do it for themselves, but they're going to do it less for theaters.
Very much less.
If not at all. Yeah.
And they are also using target marketing. So you're just not seeing the marketing sometimes for certain films and stuff. So I think that they shouldn't be beaten up because they were kind of like saying what the reality of the situation is moving forward, and theaters just need to be aware of that. Now, a whole separate conversation is if the studio isn't going to market the film, then why are we paying such high terms? But we'll get into that, a whole nother topic down the road.
Oh, I know you're really wanting to talk about
that. That was like my immediate reaction was like, okay, you're not going to market anymore. What am I paying you for?
Yeah, bump down those terms a little bit.
Yeah, and I'll market it myself.
Yeah.
But okay.
We don't need you that much.
I'm not going to pay you and someone to market.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if you're not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm not getting any value at it because you're not marketing to my customers to come to my theater to see the film like you used to. So I think where that starts is this idea of using data on your customers to then turn back a market to them. But it's like, where do you get this data? Like, you have people come through your doors, they buy your tickets, they're there. Sometimes if you're in a community, you see regulars and you know these people, but you don't really know the data on them or your complex as a whole. So in comes the loyalty program. That's the best way for you to get data on your customers. And so what is a loyalty program? And loyalty programs are customer retention strategies that encourage customers to continue buying from your brand rather than competitors. So you can set up rewards and programs that can be administered through an app, but you set up a program that rewards customers for continued loyalty to your brand.
Is this Kyle's research portion that you're reading?
Some of it.
Great
Some
job,
of it
Kyle.
is my research portion, and I will get into it. But Kyle did the bulk of this, okay?
So great job, Kyle.
Good job,
Thank
Kyle.
you.
Yeah.
Finally, someone notices my worth. I'm just kidding.
He did a whole page. I'm very proud of it. Okay.
I did the assignment.
Did you cite your sources? Did
No.
you give me a bibliography?
Well, actually, that's not true. I did cite some of my sources.
Yeah, but not on this sheet.
Not on the sheet, but I
Yeah.
did cite my
You did.
sources in the email I sent you or whatever.
So for small companies, like smaller theaters, you can ask for email addresses to sign up for the program. You can send promotional text, so you can get cell phone numbers, email addresses, mailing addresses. You know, you can really expand the data that you're collecting there. But once you get that customer set up in the program, you want to get enough information from them that you are able to learn location and interest. I think those are going to be the biggest areas you want. So whether you want something a little bit more than just an email address, although that's basic, like you have to have that.
That's the starting point and the main point.
As long as you don't hit too many pressure points, asking for a little bit more is only going to help you flesh out a lot more information about your customers. And then what we do with that information is then you start seeing, you know, what kind of films they go to, frequency, where they're coming from. So you want to get as much like details of the person that's not maybe even super identifying. Like you don't need their first name, last name, and to know that they like just horror films. Mm-hmm. But you want to know in your complex that a certain number of people tied to a certain email addresses like horror films.
If they like a certain type of movie or how frequently even that they're going to your movie theater. Those are pretty much two key components, I would say, to helping you figure out who are the audiences that I really need to market towards.
Yeah. So when you think of your loyalty program, really keep an eye on the future of, if I were to message back to these people, what is the message I want? How frequently do I want to do it? And how much data do I want to get to really like narrow and tailor that messaging? You can get an email list of thousands of customers that have walked through your theater in a given year or over a couple years, but some of them are tourists and some of them are locals or they've moved away. Like you want a robust list that is really the people that are frequent users, because you don't want to waste any marketing on people that are the occasional or just happen to come in for one film user, like customer. You want your most loyal customers.
And those most loyal customers, if you don't mind me adding, they're probably going to be the ones most interested in a loyalty program. So that way they can at least get something in return, but still want to keep coming back. Yeah.
Hey, sign me up. I've got 35 loyalty cards in my wallet. I love a good loyalty program.
I can add one more.
Oh, they've gone away from punch cards, which used to be my jam.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember the punch card. It was so satisfying to be like, click, 5 more to go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I can imagine people on the other side of the counter with the hole punch every time they just hear a little like a little excitement of
when you got
the sound.
When you got a fancy hole punch, it wasn't just a hole, but that anybody could use. But
it was something specific.
Ooh, that was even better.
Like a star,
like a star or
a
dollar sign or.
Yeah.
Oh man, there was a pizza place that had the pizzas that punched out, subs, burritos, even oil changes.
And now younger people are like,
a lot of
what's
our money
a hole
on?
punch?
Let's get it on an app.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's not the same sound, guys.
So there's
Double Punch Mondays.
There's a couple of reasons why you would want to start a loyalty program. They do increase referrals to your business. They have proven to increase customer retention, so that it really does encourage the loyalty in the thing. They do increase sales, and you can advocate for your brand through these programs. So it does increase a lot of not only just loyalty, but just good general brand awareness through it, and which is what you want. You want them to come to your theater and not think of anybody else, especially if you're in a competitive area. But to do these programs, you got to give something up. I mean, it's not just them signing up and you just collecting all the information on them. You do need to think about discounts, sales of merchandise within the theater, which you think I don't sell anything but access to the movie. Well, you should start thinking broadly about things that you can have in the theater. Maybe it's promotional materials, maybe it's special popcorn tins, cups, anything in the concession stand, t-shirts. Really work on your brand for your theater, and maybe you can brand some really cool t-shirts, hats, souvenir cups, that sort of thing.
Even just with the starting point of, say you're an older theater and you have an older logo perhaps.
Oh my gosh.
That could still go a long way for attracting people to being like, ooh, a shirt, but it has like this cool retro vintage vibe to it. And
like an Art Deco vibe too.
Yeah.
I would probably buy that.
It could lead to conversations, people being like, where did you get it from? If it does happen, and people could be like, I have a local theater and it's really nice and they do a good job there, but they have these sweet shirts there too. And I don't know, maybe someone from out of town or some friend will go.
Don't be surprised, somebody will buy a shirt.
I was thinking about this. Like, hats are the obvious one because you can stack them, and but then they're adjustable and things like that. But then I was thinking, like, what would Codi want if she went to a movie? She'd want one of those blankets with the sleeves.
What? I don't want it with the sleeves. Maybe just a regular blankie, or
what are they called? The backwards robes. I know what you're talking about.
Snuggie.
Yes.
A branded Snuggie that you can walk into the theater. Oh God, it's finally warm.
Yeah.
Because you're the coldest person ever.
That might not. That's a good idea, actually.
You can get really creative with it.
Because people have to eat and.
Kyle, you said stickers. No joke. I think it is a millennial thing. But I go out and we travel around and I stop somewhere like a touristy place and I see that wall of like those really fancy vinyl stickers now. And I can't help but to thumb through those. Me and my 9-year-old son are like, stickers! It's terrible. They have figured out how to market to mid-30-year-olds through stickers. It's awful. I'm in that aesthetic.
It's not the teenage... It's a very small window of who won't buy them. So younger kids will want them, and then I think over 21-year-olds are actually into them.
Put them on my car, on my water bottle.
I mean, I'm from a design background, so every classmate, including myself, has stickers like on their laptops, on their laptop covers. Yeah. Because we design them anyway, so we might as well put them somewhere. So,
but it's a certain outdoor aesthetic too. Like
it's that too, yeah.
I'm so pigeonholed into it, and I can't help it. I love it. I would look at stickers if it was at a theater.
Stickers can go bleep themselves.
Ken is so over stickers between me and the boys. He's like, no more.
So theater owners, don't listen to Ken. Because really,
look at my enthusiasm right now.
Those stackable things, actually, like Ken was saying, so never mind. But hats and the stickers, with a little bit of creativity, or at least just giving it a shot, it could go a long way to what Codi was saying about the loyalty aspect.
Yeah, so discounts, sales of merchandise, early access. There could be ways, and that you need to explore this with your buyer and with your studio exhibitor relations reps, but you could maybe work on the group buyouts. You could maybe start a program where you turn group buyouts into loyalty reward members, special early access screenings. So there are things in place that you can maybe think about to modify for the theater that would work for you for your loyalty program. And then, you have an idea of what the discounts you want. You have an idea that you want to set this up. There are different types of loyalty programs you can set up. The first one would be points-based system, and that's probably the easiest for the theater, I would assume. The more they spend in the theater, the more points they earn, and then that can go towards the discounts and the early access and that sort of stuff. So points-based system is probably the most broadly used, easiest to implement, and probably a beginner one for the theater.
Yeah.
But there's also tiered and paid loyalty programs. So they pay a small monthly fee, and then you'd be guaranteed then those discounts. So you might think about this if you started your rewards program and there were people that were just amassing a lot of points and not really using them. Maybe you might turn them into a tiered program where they buy entry level, access to certain discounts and stuff. And that would be great for ongoing. That I think that's more of a program that you'd see like the big chains doing with their stub hubs, you know, things where they pay so much a month and you get a couple free tickets, but you also get discounts at the concession stand. I think you have to have a lot of people through your theater to really make that work. But
if you're the only one in town, basically, right, that could be your best shot.
Yeah, so that's one. I wouldn't rule it out. It probably is, if you're beginner and new to the rewards program, it's probably a little harder one to implement. But
now's a good time to get started and try things, because you're going to get the excitement from all of these October, November, December movies. Yes. You're going to get so many new people, the people that come once a year to the movies to see Halloween and Black Adam and Black Panther and Avatar, that this is the time to start a program and see it through to the end of the year and then decide if it's worth continuing.
Right. Then the third kind, and I don't really recommend this kind for a theater, but it might work for your branding, is a value-based charitable endeavor. So the customer doesn't really earn any points for discounts or anything for themselves. They earn points or value towards a charitable donation, and that you can give them an option of 2 to 3 charities, and the more points they earn, that equals a donation to that charity down the road. And you can message them constantly like, hey, you know, this month we donated $200 to your charity, or you know, or you and your fellow customers all chose this charity and this is what we sent. So that might work in some of your branding, but I'm not sure in the theater business that is the one that I would probably go with.
I would think maybe not on a consistent basis, but let's say it's Cancer Awareness Month as an example. Maybe you could, during that month, give notifications of, hey, this is, you know, Cancer Awareness Month, and for every time you purchase a ticket, like $1 or whatever the point system might be, with this loyalty program, we will donate a certain chunk of the money that you're buying to.
Right. I think you can always take aspects of that third idea, that charitable giving, and put it into your loyalty program at certain one-offs during the year.
Exactly, like a one-off type method rather than a consistent basis or a consistent part of the program in general.
Right. So after you kind of figure out which type of program you want to implement, what the discounts are, and what the data is that you're really after, you need to figure out the way that you're going to, you know, roll this out and utilize it. And you'll need to first talk with your point of sales or your ticketing solution provider. So they'll probably already have a loyalty program, at least on the tech side of it, how you know, an app, the system in place so that your point of sale system can speak to your rewards program, and that way you're harnessing that data. So you're going to want to like take the step to really reach out to them on the tech side, because I know there's a lot of industry solutions already for theater-based loyalty programs that you could probably customize. Like you just tell them what kind of discounts or what the program is going to be, and they'll implement it for you.
Yeah, but any theater specific point of sale has one of these options.
I would start there. Yeah, especially
for quick implementation, ease of use, not having to create something from the ground up,
and have it integrate well with, say, online ticketing, reserve seating, and point of sales in the concession sales in the theater. You're going to want it to speak to all aspects of your operations, and usually your already implemented theater ticketing solutions or your POS systems will do that. So I'd start there. And if you need something a lot more custom, or you're super, super ambitious with this, then I think you'll need to reach out to a developer on your own. But I would start with and educate yourselves on what's already available third party out there.
Yeah, I think that's a very good call. It's always hard to know, especially if you've never done this before, on where the starting point could be for something so not unorthodox, but something that's unbeknownst to how this stuff works.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, theaters are new to this part. These marketing loyalty programs have been around forever. We talked about the little cards from our most, food retailers out there.
But they've gotten a bad rap from, you know, failures like the original Movie Pass and things like that. So
yeah,
and this is not that.
A loyalty program is different than a membership program. So just keep that in mind too. You're not trying to sell a membership program to movies. You're trying to sell a rewards program to loyal customers.
Yeah,
so
you're not heated seats in a BMW.
Yeah.
Or you got to pay a subscription fee every month to warm your tush.
Yeah. That is one we definitely pay if we had to.
That's the top tier, though.
Yeah, top tier.
You have to get a certain amount of points for that.
So now you're at the point where you've started your program and you're starting to collect your data and you're like, what do I do with this now? Like, what does this mean to me? How do I utilize it? And the next part would be parsing through the idea of your customers to geo-target them back on marketing. So you're going to want to take your marketing, you're going to want to make campaigns that speak to certain subsets of your customers based upon the needs of the campaign. So the example I usually give when I'm talking to some of my clients about campaigns is like, okay, you have a summer kids show program, which is something you've done for years and years and years. You usually send out flyers to the PTAs before school's over and area childcare providers because you're like, these are my bread and butter. This will get everybody in. You're like, well, I want to make this more successful this year. I want to talk to parents out there that I may have missed through these couple avenues. And so you would then go back to your data trove on your customers and your loyalty program, and you would do things like, I'm going to send out a newsletter or an advertisement to my mailing list of users or of clients, customers. And I want to target ones that have been to a kid show in the last year or 2 or 3 of kid shows in the last year. And
anybody that went to a PG film.
Yeah, or a PG film, but you might even want to get like more, you know, like targeted than that. You might want to say it has to be an animated film that was PG within the last year. Yeah. Okay, I want to target them because it's probably parents bringing kids, and that's who's going to want to bring them to my kids shows and who's going to want to spend money on the kids packs. All right, great. Now, do I want anybody that had come to that, or do I want a certain area of people? Usually you want actual customers that live close to the theater or around a certain area. You don't want just anybody because you want to know that they're actually going to come, you know, they're your customers. So you'll need to marry a location-based geo-targeting system, which is something based on drive time, regional area, town, that sort of thing. You're looking for a geographical area to target, and then you're looking for the people within that geographical area that would have that fit your audience behavior requirements, which are, you know, like the kid shows in the last year, that sort of thing. So when you marry those two things together, now you've really created your core audience that you're trying to market to, and then you have your campaign and your copy directed right at them, and you've not wasted any of that marketing dollars or energy spent, you know, blasting out a blanket of information about your kid shows.
Then you've trapped those unsuspecting people
without them knowing.
They're not going to care. I mean,
no,
you know, like a Kyle is not going to care about matinee kid shows during the summer at 10 a.m. Like, he's just going to be like, I've got other things to do, like probably sleep in and mow the lawn.
Yeah, probably.
You know,
I mean, yes,
you're an adult now. You got to do
Bob
those
Vila
things.
reruns.
Yeah, he's got to learn how to maintain his home.
Like, sleeping in just sounded so not adult, and then mowing the lawn was just the most adult thing ever. So,
right.
But I guess that's fair, no, in my case. But
you don't have kids, so you get the opportunity to sleep in.
To do both of those, yeah.
So that's why I threw that in, because I was like, oh, jealous. He gets to actually do this. But haha, he is an adult and he has to mow the lawn.
It's the worst.
All that home maintenance.
Ugh, terrible.
You're not going to kid shows because of it. It's keeping you there at home.
Yeah, I think I'm doing the fine choice so far.
Yeah.
I think I'm doing okay.
So that's just kind of a brief overview. It's not as scary, I think, as what that interview or what people are saying their reactions to that interview were. I think it makes a lot of sense. It is how business is conducted more so now, and theaters need to kind of get in on that. But it doesn't take a lot of investment. It doesn't take a lot of effort, and you're letting your customers speak to you through a program that also is like goodwill. Like, why wouldn't you want to give back to your customers a little bit?
Yeah, in a weird way, it feels like today's world is where the technology makes us so separated that no one wants anything to do with the other. But weirdly enough, loyalty programs and you being a small business really could be a way to reintroduce your audiences back to the theater and the experience and the human aspect of it, which, you know, is subconsciously the selling point of a movie theater to begin with, is those shared experiences and human moments of it. So weirdly, this is a good way to get back to that.
Movie theaters are fun. They're already going to have positive brand loyalty to them. As long as you make sure that your experience in your theater is good for everybody, that it's clean, it's well managed, it's operation, it's run smoothly, equipment's great, all those things. It's such goodwill that goes out into your community because you are a facility that facilitates like good experiences. So it's not hard to create that brand loyalty, especially for a theater, because a theater is fun. A theater, you get to do fun things there. And, you know, I can't always say the same thing about restaurants or bars or all that, but movie theaters are always a good time.
Just like to really thank the president and co-president of Sony Pictures Classics with the 93 highest ranked film of this year for really stepping out on a limb here.
That is kind of the funny part in all this. It was the smaller distributor that gave the most sound
because it doesn't hurt anything.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt them at all.
There's a reason.
Well, and they're
why it's not Disney out there doing this.
You know what movie theaters or movie theater friends should be doing. Yeah, they're not saying that.
Our partners in exhibition should really be doing is marketing for sure. themselves. No, it's because they're struggling with budgets. They just don't have the budget they used to market these films. And we talked a little bit about on a previous podcast how the change in on the creative side with getting your fees now up front just makes the cost of the film so much more. So you're going into these distribution plans with a more costly film, less ability to market it. It's just, you know, it's the smaller studio is struggling too, I think, a little bit with this change. And they do need to reach out. They do need to educate the theater more on how to do this. I mean, movie theaters, like we said, have never, ever had to market themselves. It was like one of the weirdest industries that somebody else marketed them. Like, I wish that could happen for us right now. That would be so nice. But
yeah,
it's just, so now they're having to step up into that role. And it's new, it's different, and it's a little overwhelming.